Again with the falling. Why can't it ever be a gentle landing? Oh, Vivia. This is called the Mystery Labyrinth.
So, this place is a physical manifestation of mysteries from the case?
You can tell? Oh, well, anyway, this actually isn't my forte. It's...
Due to the power of death. Her, right?
Huh?
So you really could see me this whole time.
He could?
It's due to my spiritual affinity. Ever since I was young, I've been able to see otherworldly things. My forte was gained through training that innate talent. Though, I wasn't able to see her clearly like this before. I could tell you were talking to some haze following you around, but that was it. Until one day, I used my spectral projection at the agency and saw that death got clear as crystal. After that, I did some research. I discovered that the WDO Underground Book Vault held something called the Book of Death. And also, that someone had taken it.
Did I take it? Before I lost my memories?
I don't know. Since you're a rookie, I doubt you'd have access to the book vault. Only a handful of people have WDO clearance for that.
Just a handful?
Anyway, you've been using this ability to solve the other cases up till now, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, this is also related to the mysterious deaths of all those culprits? My guess is, clearing a labyrinth, a materialization of a mystery, causes its true perpetrator to die. If that's the case, you've killed a lot of people with your own hands, Yuma.
Well, I didn't really kill anyone. It's just what happens when...
Nope. I may be the one reaping their souls, but the blood is still on your hands.
What? Hey!
No point in pretending to be a goody two-shoes. You're risking your life to solve these mysteries.
I see. So you're determined to do this, huh? Sorry, but I don't think I have that kind of conviction myself. So, I think I'll take a nap here while you go and risk your life.
You can sleep if you want, but you won't be able to get out.
Is that so?
If you're not with Master when and if he solves the labyrinth, this place will collapse around you. Well, if you don't have any regrets in the real world, you're free to die here.
Regrets? I don't have any of those, but there are still some things I've left unfinished. Especially after you exposed the mystery of this case.
What do you mean by that?
I'll be perfectly clear. I'm just going to tag along. I'll leave the heavy lifting to you.
I don't care what you do, just don't get in our way. Well, Master, let's do the usual.
Yeah, okay.
Master, are you ready to give your life for the truth?
I am.
Is that sword for cutting through mysteries? This place must be pretty dangerous.
Here you go, Master. Here's your solution key.
Is that key something like a clue for the case? Wow. Looks like you're ready to go.
Could you be more of a downer? Whatever. I'm gonna ignore you. So let's go and unriddle this mystery labyrinth. Let's hunt down this culprit who preys on the truth.
We have to walk? This is unbearable.
Come on! You're bumming me out here.
I thought you were going to ignore him. Say, Vivia, do you remember anything about the case?
You mean Dr. Huesca's murder? Or are you talking about when Chief Yako was attacked?
Huh? You remember? Everyone else that came here lost their memories.
That's pretty rare. Must be because of his whole spiritual thing.
So the others lost their memories. That's why no one remembers this death god.
How rude of them. It's thanks to yours truly that those cases got solved.
That reminds me, I used my coalescence with Fubuki before Vivia. But Vivia is the only one who came into the Mystery Labyrinth.
I guess coalescence got overwritten. Maybe it only takes the most recent ability. I don't know either.
You don't know? But coalescence is your power, Shinigami.
Relax, will ya? Minor detail.
You would have been better off with Fubuki. She would have been far more useful for this case.
It doesn't matter anyway. No one can use their forte here.
Oh. So now I really don't have to do anything. Thank goodness. What a relief.
Jeez! You ever think your lack of motivation could be contagious?
Hey, relax.
Ooh, there's that mystery!
Huh? I told you to stop surprising me like that.
I thought this labyrinth would only require your wits. But it looks like it's going to take more than that, Yuma.
Well, he doesn't have a whole lot of wits, so he doesn't have a choice.
Huh? Why didn't a problem appear?
Not only was there no problem, no choice appeared either. Master, maybe you don't even know which mystery to start with to solve this case.
Yeah, there's so many unknowns. I'm honestly feeling lost right now.
Come on! You gotta know where to start with this stuff, or you won't be able to solve a single thing. Let's decide that for now. What's the first mystery of this case?
The first mystery is the fact that Dr. Huesca was murdered in a completely locked room with no way in or out. The doctor was located deep in the critical lab, behind layers of security. And yet, he was found stabbed to death. We were the first to discover the body. At the time, we were controlling the robot, Amapel. Because of that, we were thought to be the culprits. but we obviously aren't. So how did the culprit get in and out of the doctor's lab? That's what I don't know.
But the culprit is definitely the hitman, right?
I think so, but I'm not absolutely sure. Besides, even if the hitman did it, there's the question of who hired him. But there's no doubt the hitman stabbed Chief Yako. That's the only thing I'm absolutely certain about.
Peacekeepers?
Kanai Ward's garbage. What are you doing here?
Yomi Hell Smile.
So the director of the Peacekeepers is here.
Yeah, but he's just part of the Mystery Labyrinth.
I figured. In other words, he's a monster created from the labyrinth, right?
Right.
You pieces of shit. You're disturbing the peace of Kanai Ward!
This guy doesn't seem like an easy opponent.
But we have no choice. For Chief Yako, for everyone.
You killed Dr. Weska, didn't you? Turn yourselves in so I can torture you to death! You're the ones who killed Dr. Weska! You disarmed the security system to the doctor's lab. And then murdered him inside! Until you actually entered the lab, the security system for the critical lab stayed active. It's impossible to bypass the system while it's active. In other words, no one can enter the doctor's lab. There couldn't be an intruder.
This is the truth. When the body was first discovered, Amapal was about to enter the doctor's lab. But something bumped into it and knocked it over. In fact, there was a mark on Amapal's head, like someone kicked it. That mark wasn't there when we borrowed it. It's proof that someone else was in the lab.
You call that evidence? Is bullshit the only thing that comes out of that mouth? Don't make me laugh. Shit! There was an intruder? That's impossible! And in fact, you proved that yourself!
That claim doesn't hold up! What do you mean? We proved there wasn't an intruder!
You still don't understand? Don't make me laugh! If there was another intruder, then where did they go? By the time you arrived at the scene, there was no one else, right? There's no place to hide in the critical lab.
I'll slash through this mystery! There's a hiding spot. It's inside the airlock's decontamination device. The vent cover can be easily removed, and there's just enough space for someone to fit inside. If they hid inside the decontamination device, we wouldn't have seen them when we arrived at the scene.
So what? You've got it all wrong anyway. Everything is wrong. Your existence is all wrong. Have fun chasing that fake truth you found.
We managed to defeat him this time, but it's not over yet.
He sure is persistent, huh?
Anyway, there's no doubt someone else was inside the doctor's lab. So let's unravel each mystery one at a time.
All right, we'll get it this time.
Come on, why does it have to be so sudden?
Okay, now that we've wedged our way into this mystery, we just gotta head through the labyrinth and reach the truth!
Right here!
We're just now getting to the point? What a pain.
Hey, don't sigh, this is a good thing!
Sorry.
Anyway, let's head inside.
There was an intruder for sure. We know someone bumped into Amapal.
The culprit probably hit Amapal on their way out. After that, they must have intended to leave the lab. But they couldn't because we were in the front chamber. So they hid inside the decontamination device to avoid us.
So, if you checked inside the decontamination device on the way to the scene, you would have caught the culprit then and there.
Yeah, but it was an emergency and we had no idea they were in there.
It's super lame to make up excuses, Master.
It's not an excuse, but it is true. If I had thought about why Amapal was knocked over at that time, I would have realized the culprit was in there. We could have waited in ambush or searched for them. And if I'd caught the culprit then, Chief Yako wouldn't have gotten stabbed.
Master, wallowing in regret is even lamer. If you have time for that, you have time to keep going.
Right.
Really? Another fork in the path.
Seems like we're finally at the central question. This is the first step to solving how the culprit committed an impossible murder.
I leave the rest to you. I'm going to read a book or something.
You can bring your own stuff into the Mystery Labyrinth?
He's just special.
Right here!
The doctor invited the culprit in? But why?
Things are so muddled now because we're assuming the culprit forced their way inside. If the culprit was invited to the lab, then he easily would have been able to enter.
Ah, so you think the doctor disabled the security? He wouldn't need it if he was expecting a guest.
Huh? A trap?
Guess you were wrong, Yuma. Well, I already knew that before you entered.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
You wanted me to tell you? You should have said so earlier. People only grow by learning from past mistakes, which is why I purposely...
Master, we have to get out of here!
How do we get out?
Use logic to show how this route is the wrong one!
All right, I'll try.
The log on the doctor's computer didn't show any signs of security getting shut down. If that's the case, he certainly didn't cut security just to let someone in. Well, I may have messed up, but at least we got a little closer to the truth.
Maybe, but if you hadn't messed up in the first place, you wouldn't have to come up with such a lame excuse.
I know. I'll do better next time.
Right here.
Culprit never entered? But you said there's no doubt the culprit was in there.
Perhaps the intruder is not the culprit after all.
So you're saying that the doctor committed suicide? If the doctor committed suicide, then the culprit wasn't the intruder, but the doctor himself.
But if the doctor did it, there would be no intruder. The doctor was already in the lab.
Huh? This route is wrong too? Again?
No need to worry, Yuma. I don't mind it at all if we can't find a way to move forward.
Sheesh. Even I'm losing motivation. You can take care of this on your own, can't you, Master?
Don't let him influence you!
That's right. The doctor was stabbed 3 times in the back. One stab would have indicated that he held the knife in place, then fell on it to kill himself. But he couldn't have made 3 wounds like that. There's no way it was a suicide.
No excuses, Master. Do it again.
You're tired, Yuma. Why don't you lie down for a bit?
Resting here wouldn't help me at all.
Right here!
The culprit used the blackout to slip past security and into the lab. That answer is pretty simple. Almost too simple. — '
Huh? What? This was the last route!
This labyrinth is a tricky one. It's like one of those old detective novels. Perhaps you're the real culprit, Yuma.
Really, Master?
Of course not! Focus! We need to get out of here! The doctor said the critical lab was on a separate grid, and the lab switchboard wasn't in the electrical room. The security wouldn't shut off, even if there was a blackout in the building. What's going on? Were all three routes wrong?
I wonder what it means.
Hey, there's another door!
I get it! Since we proved that every possibility was wrong, a new one has appeared!
Interesting. The Mystery Labyrinth not only materializes the case, but also changes based on your investigation.
Right. Something felt off about those other routes. It's almost like we were forced to choose the wrong way.
But by eliminating each wrong answer one by one, you opened the path to the right answer.
You sound disappointed.
Who cares? Let's just see what's in the final route!
They use spectral projection to enter and kill him?
Then, the culprit is... I can't believe the culprit entered the labyrinth with us. That's never happened before.
How dare you trick me!
There is no escape! Once the Mystery Labyrinth is solved, the culprit will be judged! Master, let's finish up this Mystery Labyrinth and boom kill this dude!
Hold on! That's why I said to wait. There's no way Vivi is the culprit.
Then, prove it and beat this thing! I won't be convinced until you do!
To begin with, nothing can be touched while in ghost form. He couldn't have held the murder weapon, the knife. So it's not possible that he stabbed the doctor. Now do you trust Vivia?
Master, I've said this 1,000 times, but a detective must suspect everything. Besides, it's his fault for being so sketchy. The way he looks, how he talks, everything is super suspicious.
Sorry. I do try to stay out of sight.
Anyway, let's go back.
If he's not the culprit, then we're back to square one.
Let's try going back to the fork in the path. Maybe something else changed. Everything's changed.
There aren't any new doors. What? There's nowhere to go? What was the point of eliminating all the other paths?
Come on.
Don't start with that again. How about you help us for a change? You better cooperate, unless you want to get chopped up by Master Solution Blade.
Hold on, Shinigami.
I don't want to get chopped up. I dislike pain immensely. But you know, the journey up to now wasn't a waste. We did eliminate many possibilities.
But that means nothing if we can't reach the truth.
Nothing? Why do you want the truth in the first place?
Huh?
It's easy to say you want the truth, but are you sure you can handle it? No matter how cruel that truth may be.
Can I handle it?
I'm still not sure if you're the kind of person who can. I bet you're not sure either. That's why you're still so hesitant. This Mystery Labyrinth also reflects your reluctance. Maybe that's why you can't reach the truth.
What are you talking about? I've said it before and I'll say it again. I won't hesitate to expose the truth.
So you still haven't realized it? Guess you're not quite there yet. Well, that's fine for now. But eventually, you'll be forced to make a choice. When that happens, you'll have to prove your conviction and expose the truth, like you said.
Enough nonsense. Let's find some clues.
As an apology for the distraction, let me tell you something. This labyrinth appears to change shape by reflecting our investigation. So, instead of following the revealed path, isn't it possible to carve your own path?
Carve my own path? That's right, Shinigami! We can create new routes with our own deductions. Maybe we can do it here.
Sometimes, just a slight change in perspective is enough to completely change how you see things.
So if I change my perspective here, I might see something new. I see. I was so focused on how to overcome the security system. But that's not right. I need to change my perspective and think about who could have overcome it.
Don't box yourself in with your own assumptions.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
I hate when the anemic vampire tells us what to do. But if Master wants to... then fine. I'll lend you my power. Lay it all out, Master!
A new route appeared!
This is all thanks to me!
Perhaps I said too much. Well, nothing has been solved yet.
I wish you'd express yourself a little better. How can we tell if you're happy or sad?
I've never been happy or sad in my entire life. I want to die someday.
This guy's hopeless!
Anyway, let's explore this new route.
When you think about who could get past security, the only option we know of is Amapal.
True, and that's how we were able to get through security ourselves.
But it's just a toy robot, right? How is it related to the case?
I don't know yet, but since Amapal can get through security, it must be important.
It's sealed off here, too.
Hey, there's an intercom. Maybe someone will respond if you use it.
No way. Huh? Doctor?
Huh? Wait. What the... Wait. Who are you? Help! Somebody come help me!
Isn't this the footage of when the doctor was attacked?
Yeah, you're right.
The mystery materialized. Must be related to what the doctor just said. So the question is, who did the doctor say, "Who are you?" to? Well, I'll leave it to you.
I don't get how you can keep reading at a time like this!
The trap didn't activate. Does that mean we found the right answer? Huh? So the right answer is no one? Why would the doctor say, "Who are you?" if no one was there?
The security was still active at the time, so no one could enter the doctor's lab, right? And that was before I borrowed Amapel. So the only explanation is that no one was there.
Why would he say that if no one was there?
I think if we go there, we'll find the answer.
What? That route's obviously just a side road. Who cares what the old geezer was thinking anyway?
But it looks like this is the only way we can go. Besides, I am curious about what was going through his mind. It could be an important factor in solving the mystery behind this case.
Still, being forced to take a side route is too much trouble. Makes me wish I was dead.
So, Master, do you have an idea about what the geezer was thinking?
Not yet, but I think it has to do with why he said, "Who are you?" I think the doctor was putting on an act.
An act? Really?
The doctor put on an act for a reason, but I have no idea why. We have to figure that out by going down this doctor's motive route.
You rats keep scurrying around. Do you really think you'll discover Dr. Weska's motive this way? Good luck with that, morons! He had no motive at all!
Well, he said there's nothing here. Let's head back.
We can't do that! If he's trying to block our path, then this route must be important.
Fine.
I'm only here because you maggots piss me off. So, I'm gonna end you here and now! This was all part of the doctor's plan? He didn't have a plan at all. That exchange on the intercom wasn't an act. There was no reason to put on a show. The doctor misunderstood. You probably don't know this. Weska put his soul into his work. The research was going well. The doctor was loyal to Amaterasu.
This is the truth. No, the doctor was planning on betraying Amaterasu Corporation. He was trying to escape Kanai Ward. He said so in the messages he wrote.
You little...
Yomi's rebuttal? What was that? What was he trying to deny? Why was he covering up the doctor's motives?
It seems that this case involves the inner workings of Amaterasu.
Right. The doctor was going to betray Amaterasu, and whoever he was emailing knew that. So the doctor locked himself in the lab to protect himself from that person.
Perhaps the doctor's act had something to do with that. It's the security gate. Everything's locked up.
Which means this is a complex problem. We have to choose the right door and insert the correct solution key.
This is way more hassle than before. Guess I'll leave it to you, Yuma.
As always.
Oh, the door actually opened. I knew I could let Yuma handle it.
Are you sure you aren't a phantom?
So the doctor tried to swap places with someone else to escape from Amaterasu. The notes he left behind in the lab hinted at his plan.
You mean the diagram with the sulfuric acid being poured on someone?
Yeah, he was going to swap places with a corpse, then melt it with acid. He wanted to disfigure it beyond recognition. That's how he planned to fake his own death.
At the very least, it'd buy him enough time to escape Kanai Ward. Or so he thought.
Wow, Melting a corpse with sulfuric acid? Yay! So cool and grotesque! So who is the substitute supposed to be?
Maybe the hitman. The doctor was under surveillance by Amaterasu, but he was still looking for a chance to escape. When he learned a hitman was after him, he figured his chance had arrived. The doctor was hoping to use the security system to kill the hitman and use the body as a decoy.
Now that I think about it, the doctor did seem to be waiting for the hitman to arrive.
The hitman hasn't arrived yet. When will he show up? Don't tell me this so-called first-rate hitman was captured by peacekeepers.
But the hitman never did show up. That's why the doctor had a sudden change of plans.
And that was the act he put on by asking you, "Who are you?"
Perhaps that was a trap to lure you in, Yuma.
He was trying to lure Master?
He considered taking advantage of the detectives, since the hitman never showed up. So if he called for help, he would charge into the lab, not knowing anything about the security system, and thereby acquire the corpse he needed as his decoy.
That seems overly complicated. Like those guys who overthink asking girls out.
Well, he couldn't have used another researcher. Someone would have noticed their absence. He needed visitors, people from outside to pull it off.
So if I didn't know about the security and had rushed into the lab...
You'd be a super sexy skeleton right now. Aw, so close.
You want that?
But the doctor's plan failed, and he actually got boom-killed by the hitman. I get what he was trying to do, but what about the impossible murder?
Assuming the attack on the doctor was just an act when we saw him through the intercom, we at least know for sure the real attack hadn't happened yet.
In other words, the culprit entered the lab after that exchange. So the problem is, when did they actually enter?
Where are we?
This place is a real mystery. Then again, I suppose that checks out.
Huh? Shinigami?
Yeah! Master, this looks like an important turning point! So, is that your final answer?
I haven't said anything yet!
Master, you need to narrow down the timing for when the culprit got inside. Now then, here's our fateful fork in the road. It's life or death! We're at the crossroads of mystery and solution. This earth-shattering choice may be your last. Now, Master, which one will you choose?
When I directed Amapal to go into the doctor's lab, he already had a knife stuck in him. Which means he was murdered before Amapal entered the doctor's lab.
Your answer? Is correct! Like to double down?
What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep going.
Little by little, we're narrowing down when the culprit entered.
Yeah, but we still don't know how yet. It had to be between when we spoke to the doctor over the intercom and when Amapel entered his lab. During that time, the culprit entered the doctor's lab and murdered him.
So the most likely time would be when you went to borrow Amapel, Master. The culprit had to have entered the lab then.
But Fubuki waited at the front chamber while Desuhiko and I went to borrow Amapel. She said no one entered or left the lab. Huh? We're back on the original path.
Maybe you're supposed to try opening that door now.
I'm sure that from here on out, it's not just about when, but also how the culprit got in. Yuma, there's no need to push yourself if things get too hard.
No, I can do it. I'm going to solve it.
This is a map of the critical lab.
So we have to determine where the culprit was before the murder.
We'll have to solve them one at a time. Let's start with this mystery.
If we know where the culprit was before they got in, this route will be clear too. Do you know where, Yuma?
Here! The culprit must have been here!
Yay! It opened!
After the exchange on the intercom, given there was always a detective at the front chamber, when we went to borrow Amapel, the culprit had to have already made their way inside. But the airlock is the only location that isn't affected by the security system. There, the culprit had to be inside that decontamination device before committing the crime.
But I thought he was just hiding in there to avoid being spotted after the crime. So you think the culprit was in there before the crime too?
Yeah, the culprit was waiting for their chance. But we had no idea when we sent Amapel into the airlock.
And from there, Yuma, you guided Amapel to the doctor's lab. So the culprit entered the doctor's lab before then? How would that be possible? Only Amapel could get past security, right?
Yeah, that's the next big question.
Maybe the culprit used another Amapel unit.
No, the researcher mentioned there was only one functioning Amapel.
Which means the Amapel Yuma controlled was the only one that could get past security.
So the culprit must have taken advantage of Master's Amapel to get into the doctor's lab.
Yeah, that's the only way. But how did they use it? There's no solving the doctor's murder until we figure that out.
Well, I have an idea. Will you hear me out?
What is it?
How about giving up? I'm getting tired.
Nope, motion denied. Another fork in the road? Such a complicated mystery labyrinth.
Beyond each problem lies the truth. We're definitely getting closer to the heart of this mystery.
Do you think neither is really the right answer?
Given the process of elimination, that must be it. Amapal's hands aren't designed to hold anything, so it couldn't use the knife to murder the doctor. Which means Amapal wasn't the murder weapon. And the culprit couldn't have used it as a shield. It can't neutralize the toxic gas, and the high-voltage shock would destroy it.
So then, how did the culprit use Amapal?
I think we'll find out if we continue down this path.
Huh? That was the wrong answer? Come on, Master!
Ow!
Huh? We're...
We've been here before. It looks like we've been brought back.
But the door we opened earlier is closed again. Why's that?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Huh? Even the question is the same. Does that mean we gotta do it all over again?
Well, the logic is still sound. There's no other hiding spot for the culprit besides the airlock.
So you want to choose the same answer and keep going?
If you do, you'll just repeat the whole process again. We'll just be brought back here if we can't figure out how did the culprit use Amapal. And I refuse to walk any more than I have to.
Hey, don't sit down!
What should I do?
Stand up! Stand up right now!
Stop it. Leave me alone.
If you want me to leave you alone, then help my useless master out!
Fine. Just one thing, then. We're back at... Where was the culprit before the crime? Because you're stuck at... How did the culprit use Amapal? With that in mind, these two questions are connected.
Connected? Both the culprit's location and how Amapal was used?
Help him out more! More!
The culprit was hiding in the airlock, where you also left the robot, right? At that moment, only the culprit and Amapal were there. So maybe the culprit did something.
The culprit did something to Amapal?
Clues are always there, right under your nose. It's a detective's job to notice them. Did you notice anything strange back then? Any tiny detail? Try to remember.
Something strange. Hey! Now that you mention it, back then...
Oh hey, the screen lit up. So this is what Amapal sees. It's like the cockpit of a mecha.
Whoa, what was that?
Did it break already? I thought it was state of the art.
No, it's all right. It's stabilized.
There was a moment when the camera stopped functioning while I was controlling Amapal. It returned to normal pretty quick, but maybe...
See? I told you it was right under your nose. You don't need any additional help from me, right?
That was a clue to help solve this mystery?
Actually, everything in this world is a key to solving mysteries. You just haven't noticed them. Perhaps there is more you're overlooking. Was there anything else unusual?
Something unusual. Something I missed.
Anything else? It's not like Amapal's camera showed the culprit.
Wait, that's it!
Huh?
Now that I think about it, wasn't that strange? The culprit must have gotten ahead of Amapal, but why didn't they ever show up on the camera? If the culprit went past Amapal to enter the doctor's lab, they would have been spotted for sure.
Now that you mention it...
But nobody showed up on camera. How did the culprit manage to pull that off? How can you move from the airlock to the doctor's lab without appearing even once on Amapal's camera?
Hey, aren't you just adding another mystery?
No. All the pieces are here.
Huh?
Yuma, the mysteries you face now can be solved with a single answer.
A single answer?
Sheesh. I talk too much.
Oh, one mystery after another! What'll you do now? It's a Pandora's box of mysteries!
Let's stay calm and think about it. There's plenty of time.
Or not. I'll keep reading while you wrap things up.
Remember what he said, Master. All it takes is one answer to solve these mysteries. Use those weak brain cells of yours and think!
Culprit's location. Amapal's usage. Its malfunction. Why didn't the culprit appear on camera? All this can be solved with just one answer?
Got it! The culprit rode on Amapal's head, using it as a method of transportation.
The door opened!
With every open door, it will be harder for you to turn back. Are you sure you want to keep going?
Absolutely! I will find the truth no matter what. This is for the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Hey, you said the culprit rode on top of Amapal. What did you mean by that?
Literally what I said. The culprit rode Amapal and used it to get through. After we left Amapal in the airlock, the culprit came out of the decontamination device. Then they jumped on Amapal's head. The disruption in the footage was from the impact.
That's insane.
Is it? I think it's fairly reasonable. Amapal can withstand up to 100 kilograms of weight. So, someone riding on it shouldn't affect its functionality.
The shoe print on Amapal's head wasn't caused by someone kicking it. It was left there from the culprit hopping on and off.
After that, the culprit simply rode on it as it moved toward the doctor's lab. By doing so, the culprit was able to evade the camera and remain hidden as they made their way through the lab.
You're right. If it's true, it does solve all of the previous mysteries. Imagining the culprit riding on a robot makes me laugh.
But Yuma, have you not realized it? You're still missing something. One major mystery remains.
What's with that huge sigh?
The greatest mystery of this case should appear soon. Just the thought of it gets me feeling down.
This case's greatest mystery? This is the panel chamber.
That means the doctor's lab is just beyond it. If we can get through here, we'll reach the goal, yeah? Is this the greatest mystery you mentioned?
Not exactly what I was envisioning.
Well, this is the mystery to be solved, so let's clear it out.
Beats me.
The culprit murdered the doctor before Amapel entered the room. Which means the culprit had to have gotten ahead of Amapel at some point. It was when the door first opened. At that moment, the culprit snuck into the doctor's room.
Yeah, when the doors were slowly opening, just like this. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Right. The moment there was enough space for a person to slip through, the culprit hopped off and went inside.
Like this? We still haven't reached the goal! I thought we could get into the doc's lab now!
Is this a joke to you? Your deduction is full of holes. If this is a joke, it's not very funny.
Master, you know what to do.
Of course.
I'll take your garbage deduction and toss it in the trash. I am the saint of Kanai Ward, protecting it from filth like you! The culprit hopped off Amapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist! Think about it. If Amapal's line of sight changed just a bit,
I'll slash through this mystery. Amapel is designed so that when its hand is stretched out, it won't execute any other inputs. That's why when it was pressing the button for the door, the culprit didn't show up on the camera.
you little maggots, don't get so full of yourselves. You're not getting out of here alive.
Amapel couldn't move while the door was opening. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Since the door opens outward, it's possible to take advantage of the blind spot it creates. That's how the culprit managed to stay outside the camera's view as they entered the doctor's room.
So it's an elaborate murder that took advantage of Amapel's design, and even the direction the door opens. Whoever planned this must have really wanted the doctor dead. I guess you can call it an obsession. How scary. Just like this passageway. Where will it take us? Perhaps a suite with the culprit's obsession on full display? A room of nightmares?
Knock it off with the weird soliloquies. Let's go.
You're really going?
Huh?
Again? What's with this thing?
Hey, Yuma. When the culprit entered the doctor's room while the door was open,
Huh? Yeah?
at the time, the doctor was in the room, right? If the door opened and an intruder entered, how could the doctor not have noticed?
So what if he did notice? It's not a big deal.
Yes, it is. If he had noticed an intruder, the doctor would have turned to face him. Which means he wouldn't have been stabbed in the back.
That piece of trash is right. Your logic is flawed.
Hey, what are you, on the Phantom side now?
Listen to my incredible words of wisdom. Your crappy deduction is worth less than shit! Everything you do is a fucking mistake! Damn it! Your deduction is inconsistent. It's full of inconsistencies. By your logic, even if the doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind. That's impossible!
Your deduction is inconsistent. It's full of inconsistencies. By your logic.
Even if the doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind. That's all it...
Damn it! Your deduction is inconsistent. It's full of inconsistencies. By your logic, even if the doctor could be stabbed,
It wouldn't be from behind.
My claim doesn't hold up! No, the culprit did stab the doctor in the back. That's how the body was discovered.
That's why I'm saying your deduction is inconsistent. By your logic, the doctor couldn't have been murdered in that way! The culprit quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back. Unless you think the doctor was asleep. Is there any trace of him being drugged? Even if he didn't look back from his desk, he would have heard someone coming!
This is the truth! Wait, the doctor had trouble hearing. That's why he didn't notice the intruder.
Now you're spouting nonsense. Say whatever you want, it won't save you. There's a gaping hole in your logic, and there's no way you're gonna fill it at this rate. Because you, more than anyone else, you're the one refusing to see the truth right before your eyes.
What? I refuse to see the truth? Vivius said the same thing, but...
It's strange, don't you think? Isn't it about time you noticed that something's off here?
Huh?
You've solved many mysteries up to now, yet none of them are directly connected to the culprit's identity.
That's because the culprit is the hitman.
If that's the case, why haven't you reaped the hitman's soul? And that would end the labyrinth.
It's not that easy. The culprit will fight back, unless we solve all the mysteries first. Hang on. What are you getting at?
In my eyes, the reason a single mystery hasn't been directly connected to the culprit is because of Yuma's reluctance. It's pushing away the mysteries that lead to the culprit.
Huh?
Subconsciously, you're closing your eyes to the truth. That's why you haven't touched on the hole in your reasoning.
What hole?
Whatever, that's enough. Just ignore this guy and keep going.
Hey!
Yuma.
Jeez, go away!
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The huge hole in this investigation?
What are you...
Just ignore him.
Let's review your deduction, shall we? The culprit took advantage of Amapal's locked position and entered the lab. And before the robot entered the room, that person stabbed the doctor from behind. However, they bumped into Amapal while escaping, causing it to fall over. That was obviously a mistake, but since it wasn't captured on video, they were able to avoid detection. After that, the culprit went inside the decontamination device in the airlock to hide from you.
That's correct. So what's the hole in my deduction?
It's before all of that. It remains the case's greatest mystery.
Which is?
How did the culprit get past security?
What?
We already told you that. The culprit rode on top of Amapal as Master controlled it and was taken all the way to the doctor's lab.
But if someone was riding on it, how did they get past the high-voltage shocks in the panel chamber?
Oh.
This is the end for you! You have nowhere left to go!
Oh, come on! Why now?
I won't let you maggots ruin the peace of Kanai Ward! As the king of Amaterasu Corporation and the guardian of Kanai Ward, I will stop you here and now!
Perhaps this, too, is an obsession. Why does he insist on covering up the truth? Tell me, what will you do, Yuma? Are you going to stay willfully blind?
No, I'll fight. Whether it's subconscious or not, I won't look away from the truth. I'll find the truth no matter what. This is for the Chief and everyone at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Good luck! You'll never find it. You'll scurry around this labyrinth forever, like blind mice. You'll rot away in here, looking for an answer that will never come! Keep playing with your shit deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery! How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was always live. There was no way to reach the doctor. The panel chamber shocks would have fried the culprit. That security system? No living human can breach it!
I'll slash through this mystery! A human could get past the panel chamber by using Fubuki's forte. In fact, that's how we got past the panels. The high-voltage shocks kept destroying Amapel. But we reversed time every time that happened.
Correct. So whenever it was struck by the current, it went back in time. But while that was occurring, the culprit, a human, was riding on top of Amapel. That person was burnt to a crisp every time you failed.
But...
Which means you killed the culprit over and over again.
Vivia...
If only you had chosen to remain ignorant, I would have walked beside you in silence. But if you intend to seek the truth, then I must stand in your way.
What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
He's going to betray you, Master.
Betray me?
It's up to you, Yuma. This is your final chance to save the world you believe in. What are you going to do? It's time to decide your past and your future.
Why, Vivia?
Let me ask you. How did the culprit bypass the toxic gas chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas. The culprit would surely die. You should already know this, right? The gas is a special trait. The gas can see through even a gas mask. No ability can nullify its toxicity. Once it hits you, you're done for. You die before reaching Wesker.
This is the truth.
If you pass through the toxic gas, you'll die. But you'll have 30 minutes before it kills you. Which means you could survive for 30 minutes.
What? Don't tell me.
There are no gas masks here that can block this toxic gas, and no fortes that can nullify it. There's only one way you could get through it. You do nothing. You endure it in hopes of Amapel taking you to the next room.
Then the culprit didn't do anything to counteract it and just passed through the toxic gas?
It's the only explanation that makes sense. This is the truth. I can't believe it. But if the culprit really did just endure the toxic gas,
Then they...
the culprit is...
It appears you finally glimpsed the truth, Yuma. Well, how does it feel to have your world shatter before your eyes? Isn't this what you wanted?
Huh? What's he talking about?
Yomi's mystery phantom and Fifia are both right. Subconsciously, I didn't want to know the truth.
Huh?
Up until now, the Mystery Labyrinth was withholding the mysteries that led to the culprit. And that's because it's a reflection of my own reluctance.
Master, what's wrong? Do you know who the culprit is? It's the hitman, right?
The truth is worthless. Nothing has less value in this isolated, rainy city. No one wants the truth. Not even you! Now, rot away and die right here! No one will get in my way. Kanai Ward, Amaterasu! They both belong to me! If the culprit carried out the crime like you deduced, then they should be dead from the toxic gas. But no one at the scene has died from poisoning. If you can understand that much, then what are you still doing here?
You're right that no one in that lab died from that toxic gas. But that was part of the culprit's plan from the beginning. They planned to distort the facts of their death.
Yuma, are you sure you want to face the truth? Your world will fall apart. The world that you believed in.
Your deduction is wrong. Don't disturb the peace. It's not even worth debating. Is this the best you can do to refute it? Just give up and die! Shit!
this, I'll expose the truth! The culprit misrepresented their death by using the hitman. The culprit realized their plan would be exposed if someone in the lab died from toxic gas. So they used the hitman to cover up their own death.
Used the hitman?
Meaning, the hitman wasn't hired to assassinate the doctor. They were hired to cover up the culprit's death by toxic gas.
Huh? The hitman's target was the culprit? Not the doctor? But the doctor was stabbed by the knife with the inscribed F. Doesn't that belong to the hitman?
All you would need is a similar knife. The story of Fink the slaughter artist using a knife inscribed with the letter F is well known.
Nah, we'll leave it alone until we receive further orders. Did you see the knife stuck in his back? It's the one that Fink the slaughter artist uses, right? I've heard about his knives inscribed with the letter F.
So, it was all a ruse? The real culprit made it look like the hitman did it?
Stop. Stop! You useless garbage! To hell with detectives and the truth! I won't let you have your way in my city! There is no real culprit! Dr. Wesker was killed by the hitman!
Huh? What's going on? Who's the real culprit?
The real culprit. The real culprit is...
The time has finally come, Yuma. It's time for you to acknowledge what you've known all along. If the tiny crack spreads any further, the mirror will shatter, exposing the chaos of the real world. Knowing this, will you still expose the truth? Then, show me your conviction.
the clues pointing to the identity of the hitman's target. I know. I've known all along.
Now, expose the truth. Do it if you want to burn the world down.
The bloodstained photo found in the hallway near the lab. There was a person pictured with a woman. That was the hitman's target. The real culprit behind this case. The blood obscured the person's face, but I know who it is. It could only be one person. It could only be...
How do you know? That person in the photo is the hitman's target. And who is it?
It's...
No! Stop! Don't you dare say another word! No one wants the truth!
I don't understand, but... Good luck, Master! I'm always by your side, haunting you!
Chief Yako.
Huh? Why? Why is Fuzzhead here?
Chief Yako was the only person attacked by the hitman in the lab. In other words, the Chief was the hitman's target. But Chief Yako tried to hide that photo by tossing it behind the houseplant. He hid it knowing it'd be an important clue. And that's because the person in the photo is Chief Yako himself. It was given to the hitman so he'd know his target, and the Chief tried to conceal it. Which means the blood covering the face on the photo was likely done on purpose.
Hold on, Master! Are you serious? You're really saying Fuzzhead is the culprit? Really? I don't buy it. You think he actually put together this elaborate murder? He's knocking on death's door just for this?
I don't want to believe it either, but there's no other way.
Don't forget this stuff!
The phantom vanished. The truth has been mostly exposed, and the labyrinth cannot function much longer. Anything I do now might not matter, but I'll do it anyway. Because it's something I must do. While the Chief takes his final breaths.
Vivia.
Yuma. If Chief Yako is the culprit, then what about that death threat? Why would the Chief send it if he was the killer? Answer me, Yuma.
By sending that note, everyone would believe the doctor's life was in danger, which was necessary for this sequence of events to take place. All the master detectives headed to the secret lab because of that note. Chief Yako brought them here to take advantage of their abilities and murder the doctor.
Huh? Their abilities?
But the death threat wasn't sent just to the detectives. The peacekeepers received it too. What was the point of that? Why put them on high alert? What is the truth behind it all?
The note was sent to the peacekeepers because they were also part of the plan. When the peacekeepers received the note, they dispatched a lot of their personnel to the scene. The master detectives were able to take advantage of the commotion to enter the facility. They did it by disguising themselves as peacekeepers.
It would be convenient to have a lot of peacekeepers around if you want to get into the lab disguised as one.
This is why the peacekeepers also received the death threat.
Hey, you still want to do this? It's not too late to give up.
I am well aware of the danger. I haven't gotten this much exercise in a long time. But this is something I must do. I can't leave the chief like this.
Vivia.
Let's continue, Yuma. So, everyone disguised themselves as peacekeepers and entered the lab. You were already at the lab, and that's where you met up with the chief, right?
Yes, but we decided to split up after the blackout occurred.
Wait! That blackout should have caused a commotion. If we leave now, the peacekeepers will see us. I knew it. This place is crawling with them.
What do we do?
I'll draw their attention to buy some time. In the meantime, you two hurry to that doctor.
The chief said he'd buy us some time, but he actually went and hid inside the airlock.
Was the blackout part of the plan? So the one who caused it, was that also the chief?
No, that's not it!
The chief said he'd buy us some time, but he... The chief was with me in the security room at the time of the blackout. It's impossible for him to have caused it. So the only person it could be is the hitman. It must have been part of the job. He instructed the hitman to cause a blackout at a specific time.
But why?
It made us think the doctor was in danger, so we'd go check on him. We used Amapal and Fortes to get through the tight security system. Chief Yako had it all planned out from the start. He used us to break through the security so he could kill the doctor.
So, Master using Amapal and the Sheltered Skank's time rewinding ability at the panel chamber? That was all part of Fuzzhead's plan?
The only way to get past security was to use both Amapal and that Forte. The chief knew we'd figure that out.
I think it's more like he trusted us. He trusted that we would arrive at that conclusion.
I'm counting on you both. See you later.
Trust? How could this be a trust thing? He was clearly taking advantage of you all. He gathered the master detectives using a fake death threat, then used their Fortes to commit murder. What a scumbag! He used you all to get away with murder! Out of all the criminals I've ever met, he's the worst coward of them all! Master, grab that coward and...
Enough!
Why did it have to come to this? Chief Yako saved me. He took me in. I had lost everything, even my memories. Sure, he may have been a little pushy at times, but still, I really admired him. So, why? Why did you do it? Is this about the woman in the picture? Chief, please tell me! Or
There's no point in asking. That's just a mystery phantom. It's not the real Fuzzhead. Master, watch out!
The phantoms are a reflection of the same people in the real world, right? Which means he should hold the same thoughts. The photo behind the houseplant, I don't know what the chief was hiding. But that photo must have been dropped by the hitman after he was done with it. The chief picked it up and used his own blood to obscure the face. He knew the truth would be exposed if that photo was found, so he hid it behind the potted plant. He left his blood on it, almost like he wrote a dying message. But in truth, it was actually a secret he wanted to keep hidden.
Master, I think you know this, but to exit the Mystery Labyrinth, you will have to eliminate the culprit.
Eliminate? The chief?
Are you really going to do this? After all the mysteries are solved, the chief back in the real world will die. But you saw yourself, Yuma. The chief is already knocking on death's door. Will you still bury him in the name of truth?
The chief took me in when I had no memories, or anyone to turn to. I trusted him from the bottom of my heart. Now, I have to end his life?
You know, I liked it, surprisingly. The little bit of peace and quiet I found at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Vivia, you knew the truth behind this case from the very beginning.
I had a hunch. Because of my spectral projection, I knew the chief had been planning something for quite some time. But I pretended not to see. I admired him and the world he had made.
That's why you threatened me, and were so uncooperative in the investigation.
I knew you would reach the truth eventually, Yuma. But I tried my best to keep you away. Exposing the truth won't save anyone. Neither the chief nor you.
Master, you've already come this far. You've got to finish this. What'll happen to the other master detectives if you die here? Didn't you say you wanted to expose the truth and save everyone?
Vivia, you told me that the time would come when I'd have to prove my conviction. The conviction to accept the truth, no matter how cruel it may be. Now is that time, isn't it?
Yes, and yet you intend to continue. If you're prepared for it.
Hey! You better not get in Master's way again!
Yuma, do you remember when the chief's soul called out to us?
Huh?
Yeah, the truth is cruel. Never in history has the truth been known to be kind. But you know what? Turning your eyes away from the truth and living a lie is harsh too. In the end, you can never look away from the truth. As long as you live, you must face that pain. So really, what's the point of worrying so much about it? When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I always averted my eyes from the truth. For my own sake. My own peace and quiet. But I could never say with confidence that I was proud of myself. In the end, I was just running away from everything. That's why I entrust this to you, Yuma.
And trust what?
You signed a pact with the Death God in your desire for the truth. I want to see your conviction. As long as you don't stray from exposing all truth, I believe you'll be able to face it, cruel as it may be. I want to see it through to the end. It's why I followed you here. In that sense, we're accomplices. If you must bring down the chief, then I will lend a hand. I won't avert my eyes any longer. I, too, want to live with my head held high. Because I, too, am a detective.
Vivia.
When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I understand, Chief Yako. Thank you for everything you've done for me.